back. 9:25 is the time here on a Monday. Our next guest just graduated from St. Paul Academy and Summit School, and he is already working on research to improve brain therapy.
He was recently named one of 55 national STEM champions for that work. Here to tell us more about it is 18-year-old Evan Morris. Evan, welcome to Minnesota Live.
Thank you so much.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
For sure. So my name is Evan Morris. I just graduated from St. Paul Academy, so I just graduated from high school. I've always been pretty interested in the brain and how it works. I think our understanding of a brain can improve our lives. So I was interested in an abstract sense when I was younger, just knowing it was kind of a cool thing. And then as I grew older, I started to pursue that through research.
Like, when did you start? Like, I know you said when you
Yeah.
were younger, you were interested in the brain, but like, was it in a class where you were learning anatomy, or like, do you remember the moment when you were like, oh, this is really fascinating?
I do. So it was actually kind of funny. So I discovered these technologies that use some kind of energy to control different parts of a brain. And I remember watching a video where they were using light. It's a technology called optogenetics to turn on and off specific neurons. I thought that was so sci-fi and so cool. And obviously we don't necessarily want to do that in humans, but I thought as a research tool that could be really, really interesting.
Well, that your brain could do that.
Yeah, right? Yeah, right? So I kind of pursued it through that, and I was like, how could we apply this technology to improve other people's lives? So that was my first research focus, and then I found out later on that you can also do that with sound, and it kind of just kept getting more specific as I went on.
Did you have somebody, a family member, or somebody who was impacted by some kind of a brain issue?
I think broadly, yeah. I think most of us do, whether it be Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or something like that. Our brain is really broad, so there's a lot of conditions. So I did, but also just seeing other people around me, whether it be something like depression or something like epilepsy, really affect them. I think these are really stigmatized disorders that I thought there had to be a better way to treat them, and that's kind of how I got into that research line.
So tell us about the latest research that you're doing.
So right now what I'm doing is I'm focusing on something called neuromodulation. Neuromodulation is a fancy way of saying that we're going to affect how the brain works in some way. And it sounds sci-fi, but we're really used every day. So it's used for things like treatment-resistant depression, epilepsy, Parkinson's. And the way we do it is different in each disorder, but something that stays pretty consistent is that we need to think about really specific settings. So things like the frequency and intensity, so that's safe for people. So I created a platform that could find those specific settings faster. So instead of patients having to go back and forth between the clinic to tune them, it can be done in a model beforehand and then applied to that therapy by the clinician.
Is that where this little component comes in
so
that
this
you
is
brought?
one way
What
to
is
do it.
this?
So if you remember, I was talking about sound to control neurons, and this is one way we can do that. So it's through ultrasound. So when we're doing this in a model, we want to make specific neurons sensitive to it, right? So then we aren't stimulating the brain broadly. We can be really, really specific. So we sensitize those neurons using genetics, and we apply this ultrasound to those neurons, and that can turn them off or on or however we want to affect that function. So this is an ultrasound transducer. That's
This may be a dumb question, but are we talking about like something that a device that you hold up to the head to stimulate the head, or is this something that's internal?
Yeah, really good question. Yeah, it can be both, actually.
Okay.
So neuromodulation is really broad, and there's different kinds of ways that we can do that. One of the ways that you were talking is responsive neurostimulation, where it would be an implant in the brain. But there's also ones that are way less invasive. For things like depression, we might use something called transcranial magnetic stimulation. So it's outside the skull, and it's like a coil that magnetically stimulates the brain. So it really depends on the therapy.
And your work is being recognized. Didn't you like win an award that no other Minnesotan has ever won?
Yeah, so I was really lucky, yeah. So I qualified to something called the International Science and Engineering Fair, or ISEF, and I presented there earlier in May, and I was able to win first place in my category and then a top award. So I'll go out to Nobel Week in Stockholm later this year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, supported by the Swedish Federation of Young Scientists to present this work and see the laureates, which is really cool.
And like, who are you presenting it to? I mean, are you presenting it like to some of the top like brain doctors in the world?
Through conversations, yes, but the main audience is actually young students in that part of the world. So I think that's really cool, and just being able to talk about it in different ways. But there's a lot of opportunities to talk about it with more people who might be more interested in the therapy themselves. So there's also the National STEM Festival, which is later this month in about 10 days in Washington, D.C., where I'll present to corporate leaders and stuff like that about it. So I think just having a broad audience, I think, is so important for these therapies, because they sound so abstract, right? Until you realize how many millions of people they're used in. So there's a lot of people and a lot of exciting opportunities next.
So you're going to go to school in the fall, right up the road here at the University of Minnesota. What are you going to be studying?
I'm studying neuroscience and finance. I've always been interested in the brain and how it works, but to really apply our understanding of the brain, it's also important to have a background in finance and how we can use these products for the better good. Money is a really important part of that. So kind of those two paths I hope will intersect in a way that can make a meaningful difference on people's lives.
Do you plan on trying to go stretch it out? I'm saying for you, stretch it out into 4 years. Or are you trying to bang through this? And,
that's a good question. I'm not really sure yet. I think I'd be open to either one. If I'm able to, I've always been rooted in helping people. And if I'm able to help people through the 4 years, then I think that's something I'd want to pursue. And if it's not, then I think a shorter path could also be really interesting, just getting right into the therapies themselves and how they could help people.
Well, Evan, it sounds like you have a really exciting summer.
I hope so. I'm really excited for it, yeah.
Yeah, and fall season too with you, and my goodness.
Yeah,
you're on the right track. Your family must be very proud.
Yeah, thank you.
Way to go, bud. Best of luck to you. Keep us updated
For sure.
on your research and,
thanks for having me.
How things go.